Hello and welcome to a look at Gremlins for the Commodore 64, a game that was released by Atari. If people think that movie time games are a relatively recent addition, as in mid to late 80s, this game will definitely prove that statement wrong, because this is a movie tie-in game. It wasn't the first one that Atari released. I'm fairly sure E.T. has the doubtful honor of claiming that accolade, a game that is legendarily bad on the Atari game system, whatever number it's got, can never remember. But anyway, the plot of Gremlins is based around the plot of the film. For those who may not have seen the film, a Mogwai is likely the cutest thing ever created. If you take the cutest teddy bear you've ever seen and mix it with a koala bear, which is likely the cutest animal ever, and then you amplify that cuteness by about 20, you are getting close to how cute a Mogwai is. So it is a little wonder that Rand Peltzer, the guy with a surname that I find incredibly difficult to pronounce, is rather enamored by the little creature when he sees it in a shop in Hong Kong. Being adamant about getting it home, the shopkeeper gives him a very stern warning, saying that caretaking a Mogwai is a great responsibility. First and foremost, they can never be allowed to become wet because they will multiply. Secondly, they can never be allowed to eat after midnight or they will morph into gremlins. And thirdly, if they are exposed to direct sunlight, they will die. But Rand manages to persuade the shopkeeper to relinquish the little creature and takes it home. And of course the family, specifically the son Billy, are just as enamored as the father was, and Billy names the Mogwai Gizmo in honor of the fact that his dad's business is to create and invent gadgets. Everything is fine and dandy, and then of course one of Billy's friends accidentally spills some water onto Gizmo, who immediately spawns 5 other Mogwais. Billy cages them and keeps them in his bedroom, but they manage to sneak out after midnight for a little snack, and yeah, they morph into gremlins and things start getting completely out of control, incredibly funky and bizarre from that point on. I should say from the start that if you haven't seen the film, it is a great film. It's funny, it's a bit, I wouldn't say spooky is the wrong word, but it's a bit icky at times. The plot of the game sort of follows the plot of the film in a very limited way. Your task is to be in control of Billy, who needs to pick up Mogwais and put them in their cage, and slash any gremlins that he may bump into, because gremlins are the direct opposite of Mogwai. They're not particularly pretty, they're not particularly cute, and they will happily do evil and nasty and naughty things whenever possible, so slashing them with a sword is perfectly acceptable and quite encouraged. On top of that, of course, he has to prevent Mogwai from running into water and multiplying, and he has to pick up any food to prevent the Mogwais from eating, turning into gremlins. The gremlins are just going around trying to cause havoc and kill Billy, or hurt him, whatever you define it as. He loses a life if he gets in touch with them, so I suppose. You have to complete various different nights, and you have a timer that starts at a certain time during the night. The sun rises at 6 on the dot, and from that point on you have very little time to rescue any remaining Mogwai, or they will die due to exposure to direct sunlight. But the timer can start from 5 o'clock or 12 o'clock, so depending on how of what level you are currently on, you will have a set amount of time to cage all the Mogwai and get rid of all the Gremlins. Those two are the criteria for completing a level or a night if you want. I've already mentioned that you slash Gremlins with a sword, so I assume that you have a sword available. It's a bit hard to slash something with something you haven't got. But you also have some flash bulbs that you can use if you are surrounded, because Gremlins are not particularly keen on bright lights. I'm pretty sure that applies to Mogwais as well, but Mogwais are not hostile, so it's not super relevant. Unfortunately, using the bulbs are tied to using the F7 key, so I never got around to actually using any while playing this game. Besides that, you have the popcorn machine sometimes going bonkers, spitting popcorn all over the place, and of course you have to switch it off and prevent the Mogwai from eating, because it is after midnight and any Mogwai that eats anything that resembles food will turn into Gremlins. You get a certain amount of score based on time remaining and Mogwai's rescue, and then you move on to the next level, and that is the basic gameplay loop. Bear in mind, of course, this is a game from 1984, and as such, the technical aspects are not exactly necessarily going to impress anyone. Graphically, I think it works perfectly fine. You can identify the main character, you can identify Gremlins and Mogwais and whatever stuff you need to pick up, and as such, I have no complaints. It's not exactly epic, but it's not exactly bad either. Sound effects I personally found incredibly enjoyable and didn't mind listening to them for any extended periods of time. The music, it is a bit simplistic, and because it's been about 250 years since I watched the film, I can't remember whether the music is associated with the music from the film. It's not going to make you start dancing, but it's not going to hurt your ears to listen to either, so as such it works perfectly fine. The controls are what you would expect them to be. Up, down, left, right will move the character in set directions, and the fire button will cause him to swing his sword around. Running into Mogwais will pick them up, and running into the gates will drop them off, and as such, yeah, the controls are perfectly acceptable and functional for what they need to be. As a movie time game, you can always argue that because of the film being what it is and this game being what it is, they are only connected in name. But despite the fact that I am somewhat of a veteran gamer, I have completed many a game over the years I've been playing games, and I have played the most advanced flight simulators and other such complexities, and the most simplistic action games and mind-numbingly poor games. I did find this experience surprisingly enjoyable. I've always rated gameplay to be paramount compared to graphics and sound, and as long as the gameplay loop is enjoyable, you can have a good time with any game, irrelevant of how it looks or sounds. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.